coming up on BCN today. The final moments before a Ukrainian airliner goes down is caught on video. Plus, the Prime Minister says new evidence shows the plane was brought down by a surface-to-air missile. And British lawmakers give final approval for the UK to leave the European Union.
Your Canada. Your Southern Alberta. Your stories. From our studios in the heart of Lethbridge, it's BCN Today with Jeanette Roche.
Hello, and thank you for joining us. We begin today with some breaking news. Multiple fatalities on a Taber highway this morning. Taber RCMP are currently on scene of a two-vehicle collision on Highway 36, south of Secondary Highway 875. At approximately 7:15 a.m., a southbound pickup truck and a northbound passenger van collided. The lone occupant of the truck, the driver, and two passengers of the van were pronounced deceased. The 6 other passengers of the van have been assessed on scene by EMS, transported to various hospitals. Traffic in the area is being diverted away from Highway 36 between Secondary Highway 875 and approximately Township Road 112. It is anticipated that this will remain in effect for several hours. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau says evidence indicates a Ukrainian jetliner which crashed outside Tehran was shot down by an Iranian missile. He says the surface-to-air missile that struck the plane may have been unintentional.
We have intelligence from multiple sources, including our allies and our own intelligence. The evidence indicates that the plane was shot down by an Iranian surface-to-air missile. This may well have been unintentional. Foreign Minister François-Philippe Champagne spoke with Iranian Foreign Minister Zarif. Minister Champagne made it clear that Canadian officials must immediately be granted access to Iran in order to provide consular services, identify the victims, and participate in a thorough investigation. The Iranian authorities have indicated that they wish to keep the black boxes in Iran, but have indicated to President Zelensky of Ukraine that Ukrainian investigators would have access to those black boxes.
The final moments before Flight 752 went down in Iran appear to have been captured on video. The Associated Press reports one video filmed from the ground shows the plane as a tiny, fast-moving light in the early morning sky. There's a flash of light as it seems to collide with something in the air. Other clips appear to show the plane on fire and falling to the ground. Iran denies that a missile was to blame for the crash. Memorial services for faculty and students killed in the crash will be held at some Canadian universities today. Mourners gathered in the cold at vigils in Ottawa, Toronto, and Montreal last night. 138 people on board the plane were on their way to Canada, 63 of them Canadian citizens. Among the dead are newlyweds, families, professors, and dozens of university students.
I learned earlier today that it was a missile that hit the plane and brought it down. I want to see officials to follow up the case and make sure those people who've been behind these attacks brought into justice. It's a big pain for Iranian community wherever they live. They moved up here for a better life, but still they are not safe. They want to keep their connections with their families, with their roots, but once they want to fulfill those dreams and connections, still something wrong happens. Something very bad and tragic happens to them.
She is with her 2 kids, Arnika and Arsam. Arsam, 11 years old. She was 8 years old. She was an architect. She was like 38 years old. I cannot believe it that I am holding her picture and she's not here anymore. It's unbelievable. It's that I cannot believe it.
2 people from Calgary were also killed in the crash. One was an employee with Viking Air, and the other was a grade 12 student who attended Western Canada High School. And in honor of those who lost their lives in the Ukrainian plane crash, flags at city facilities in Lethbridge have been lowered to half-mast. Meanwhile, U.S. President Donald Trump said Iran appears to be standing down since the Iranian missile attack on a military base in Iraq.
By removing Soleimani, we have sent a powerful message to terrorists. If you value your own life, you will not threaten the lives of our people. As we continue to evaluate options in response to Iranian aggression, the United States will immediately impose additional punishing economic sanctions on the Iranian regime. These powerful sanctions will remain until Iran changes its behavior.
Alberta Premier Jason Kenney met with Deputy Prime Minister Freeland in Calgary recently. Our legislative reporter Tyler Dawson says our Premier may be softening his stance a little when it comes to dealing with the Liberals in Ottawa.
I think to some extent there is the really good politics of being the cranky Premier in public, but at the end of the day, Premier Jason Kenney needs the federal government to sort of work with him on this stuff in a lot of ways. So I think we are seeing, if not a softening in relations, I suspect we're seeing a little more savvy politics maybe than we saw for the first half of the year when Jason Kenney was running to be premier and was really, really, really bullish in his approach to how he was going to deal with Ottawa. Tyler, we'll have more on what that means for Albertans. Catch the full interview coming up in the second half of our show. Lethbridge West MLA Shannon Phillips blasted Premier Jason Kenney and the UCP's budget at Sackpaw on Thursday. Phillips says Kenney needs to change his priorities to create more economic diversification.
Healthcare, education, seniors care, childcare, and making sure we diversify our economy to make our oil and gas jobs good jobs for the future, and making sure we are taking advantage of every other opportunity, whether it's renewable energy, whether it's upgrading into plastics and other things with our oil and gas products, whether it's digital media, whether it's artificial intelligence, whether it's the arts or the film industry. We have a number of strengths. Turning our backs on all of those industries, which Jason Kenney has done, in favor of one industry and looking in the rearview mirror, is not a great way to build this province. And in fact, if you drive down the road looking in the rearview mirror the whole time, that is a very dangerous way to get to where you're going.
Phillips says the NDP would reverse cuts to healthcare and education and the $4.7 billion corporate tax cut. Last year was a busy time for Alberta law enforcement response teams. According to a recent release, last year, alert teams across province laid 1,402 criminal charges against 241 suspects. The group also seized more than $4 million worth of cash, $13 million worth of drugs, and took 92 firearms out of the hands of gang members and drug dealers. The biggest bust was a joint investigation with U.S. Drug Enforcement called Project Coyote. Over a 2-year period, Alert seized more than $15 million worth of drugs. Alert is mandated to address serious crime across Alberta and has regional offices set up in many jurisdictions, including Lethbridge, Medicine Hat, Red Deer, Calgary, and Edmonton. The Heart of Our City Committee announced it has awarded $126,000 to 21 events to be held in the downtown core in Lethbridge this year.
The Heart of Our City has been working diligently over the past 12 years to create vibrancy, excitement, new opportunities for our community to participate in downtown. We are a committee of council, and so through council we deliver on their goals, and so we're happy to be able to help them achieve their goals in seeing a revitalized downtown.
We are delighted once again at Lethbridge Shakespeare Performance Society to have been given an activity grant in order to present our Shakespeare in the Park Summer Festival.
More details on the events receiving activity grant funding in 2020 can be found on the City of Lethbridge website. Flu numbers in Lethbridge are up. This is according to Alberta Health Services Dr. Vivian Satorp, who says there are 3 different strains of influenza circulating.
Influenza is an interesting type of virus, and there's many subtypes. And protection from one subtype doesn't protect you from the others. And this is why annually we need an influenza vaccine, because the strains and the subtypes change over time. So if you've been sick with one and you've had that influenza type illness and you've not been immunized, you can still get the others that are circulating. We've had outbreaks in facilities, in our continuing care facilities, for example, and we've had examples of outbreaks of all 3 strains. So unique is this year that we have all 3 strains circulating, and especially the influenza B strains, which often is more severe in children.
Dr. Sutorp says the message for prevention is simple. Stay home if you're sick, wash your hands, cough into your elbow, and immunize. She also says it's important to always clean around the house to prevent the flu germs from spreading. Operation Red Nose wrapped up its 25th year and was another success in our city. On the last night, New Year's Eve, 94 safe rides home were provided, bringing the season total to 868 rides over a 10-night period. During the 2019 holiday season, the campaign was able to collect close to $22,000 in donations from patrons who used the service and another $18,400 in corporate donations. All of the proceeds collected will support the University of Lethbridge Pronghorns athletics program. You may have noticed that gas has gone up 5 to 6 cents at the pumps now that the federal carbon tax has kicked in, but apparently the price may be coming back down. Dan McTagg is the president of Canadians for Affordable Energy. He says there's more than one reason why.
Well, 2 pieces of good news, perhaps not if you're a producer, but certainly if you're a consumer. It has everything to do with the fact that we have seen a de-escalation of the tensions between the U.S. and Iran. And another little unknown factor that does need to get reported, the U.S. oil and gasoline inventory in particular rose by almost 10 million barrels. And that's one of the main reasons why we saw a rather dramatic and sudden and steep drop on the markets yesterday. And that, of course, means good news for consumers as prices are likely to drop net 3 cents a liter tomorrow. They could drop another penny by Saturday. The trend is definitely on the downward side.
That was Dan McTagg, president of Canadians for Affordable Energy. British lawmakers approved a bill Thursday authorizing the country to depart from the European Union at the end of the month. The House of Commons voted 330 to 231 to pass the withdrawal agreement bill, which sets the terms of Britain's departure. The majority won by Prime Minister Boris Johnson's Conservatives in last month's election helped to secure the bill's passage despite opposition of smaller parties. Britain and the EU will now launch into new negotiations to deal with trade, security, and a host of other areas by the end of the year. Well, it was a bit of a brisk morning today as we began our day with minus 21 degree weather, but it should climb to minus 5 today before plummeting again this weekend. A full look at weather is coming up right after the break. Stay with us. Welcome back. Here's a look at our weather highlights for Lethbridge. Today, we are going to be seeing a 30% chance of flurries, and we did wake up to some chilly weather this morning, but the temperature will climb to minus 5 today. That's the high. Tomorrow's high, minus 9. Also a chance of flurries for Saturday. Looking ahead to the 5-day forecast after that, I hate to say it, it's going to get cold. Minus 22 is the high on Sunday with cloud coverage, and then it's going to drop even more to minus 26 on Monday. Minus 27 is the high for Tuesday. Minus 24 on Wednesday, and minus 25 on Thursday. There is going to be a chance of flurries also on Tuesday. Definitely bundle up next week. Plug your cars in. It's going to get cold. The average high this time of year, minus 2. The average low, minus 14. As you can see, we're going to be well below that. The highest temperature on record for this day was in 1941. It was 12 degrees. The low was minus 37. It was back in 1974. The sun rose this morning at 8:26 a.m. We'll be setting this afternoon at 4:51 p.m., giving us exactly 1 minute longer of daylight today than we had yesterday. Over on the west coast, Victoria will be expecting a lot of wind today, also rain, high of 8 degrees. Snow is expected in Vancouver today with a high of 3 degrees. Minus 14 is the high up in Edmonton, and minus 6 in Calgary. Calgary could see a chance of flurries as well. A bit of sunshine over in the prairies today. Saskatoon will see a lot of sun, but the high will be minus 20. Same temperature for Regina. They will see a bit of cloud coverage though. And Winnipeg's high is minus 19 today. They will be getting those crisp, sunny days that they usually do over there. Toronto will see some rain with a high of 8 degrees. Snow and rain expected for Ottawa, 6-degree high there. Montreal's high today is 5 degrees, and snow is expected over there. Over in Atlantic Canada, we'll be seeing still a little bit of snow there as they've been pummeled with snowstorms this week. Fredericton's high is 0, Halifax's high is 2 degrees. 0 degrees is expected in Charlottetown, and St. John's, Newfoundland's high is minus 8 today, but they will see lots of sunshine. That's your forecast. Here's a look at what's happening in your community.
Here's your Bridge City News Community Calendar. The Christmas Tree Recycling Program runs annually in January and is taking place Saturday, January 11th. To have your tree picked up, have it cleared of all decorations, tinsel or plastic, and place it nearby your regular garbage collection location by 7 a.m. Saturday morning. The City of Lethbridge and local youth groups partner together to collect trees to be chipped for environmentally friendly mulch. For more information, visit lethbridge.ca. The Troyanda Ukrainian Dance Club is celebrating Ukrainian New Year's Saturday, January 18th at the German Canadian Club. The festivities will feature a special performance by the Troyanda Dance Club, followed by a Ukrainian dinner with pierogies, sausage, cabbage rolls, and more. Plus, live music by Ukrainian band Absolute. The evening also includes a silent auction, raffles, games, and a midnight lunch. Tickets are $55 and can be purchased by calling Donna at 403-315-3492. The Lethbridge Association of the Blind provides numerous activities for the blind and visually impaired in the Lethbridge area. These events include dinners with entertainment, local museum tours, and much more. For more information, call 403-942-1677 or email brownwj@shaw.ca. And that's your Bridge City News Community Calendar.
Well, it does look like we have some chilly days ahead of us. So if you're looking for something to do indoors, how about try your hand at a new language? Today's daily life hack will help you speed up the learning process. First, figure out the 100 most frequently used words. These words make up about 50% of everyday speech. This alone will help you speed up the process of adopting a foreign tongue. And there you go. That's been your daily life hack. Or if you want to brave the cold and head out this weekend, be sure to bundle up and keep warm. Len Binning shares with us what will be on the silver screen this weekend. Here is another Movie Mill Minute.
Arctic Dogs, a family-friendly animated film starring Swifty the Fox, voiced by Jeremy Renner. He works in the mailroom, but he's got bigger aspirations. He wants to become a top dog, a husky courier.
Hey, Swifty, please deliver this package for me.
I'm ready to go. Wow. Are you sure about this? What's the worst that could happen?
Good morning! I'm here to destroy your town!
Whoa. In 1996, Richard Jewell, a security guard, discovered a bomb at the Olympics. However, he went from hero to suspect number one overnight in this Clint Eastwood-directed drama.
His accusers are two of the most powerful forces in the world. The United States government and the media.
I do want to help y'all on law enforcement, too. There is a bomb in Centennial Park.
Oscar winners Matt Damon and Christian Bale star in Ford versus Ferrari. It's the amazing true story of the Ford Motor Company as they develop the Shelby motor vehicle to take on the Ferrari head-on.
So the great Carroll Shelby is going to build a car to beat Ferrari with a Ford.
Correct.
And how long did you tell them you needed? 200 or 300 years?
90 days.
Windsor locals reacted Thursday to the news that the Duke and Duchess of Sussex intend to step back from their roles and pursue a new path that will allow them to be financially independent.
It hasn't really come as a shock. I think it's been brewing for a while. It's a shame because a lot's been spent on them with the royal wedding in Windsor and the royal family. But, you know, it's a heritage of ours.
Before the wedding, I said this is what would happen.
and I gave it 2.5 years. Well, we're not far off 2.5 years. That at the end of the day, she would step down, or both of them would step down, and keep their titles and just go, which is exactly what they're doing now. So, in that respect, they should get out of that house down here in Frogmore, find a flat like the rest of everybody else in the country, and move into a flat. Or if they're going to Canada, which I expect is probably where they'll end up, as they seem to like that neck of the woods, then go. But don't expect us to support you, because you can support yourself.
Despite the recent rains, many wildfires in Australia continue to burn out of control. Doug Schultz began volunteering with the Rural Fire Service in Australia's New South Wales more than 50 years ago. Schultz was also a victim of wildfire which burned down his business on Christmas Day in 2001. He says being a volunteer firefighter is a unique way of giving back to his community.
The strategy of doing this backburn today, and that is to save this going any further east. It's still got probably another 10 to 12 kilometre run to the ocean, and that's the other fire break. This one just seems to have a mind of its own. It seems to have a brain, and it's a very sarcastic brain. It comes through from one direction, and tomorrow it'll come through the back door and grab you from behind. They're all local brigades here today: Basin View, St George's Basin, Tomarong, Wandandian, and no, none of them get paid. And we're volunteers, probably how we like it, and it's our bit we do for the community. Some other people in some other countries and probably think, we're a bunch of idiots for living here, and that it's what we are, what we deal with. And that the Australian bush, although it's a lovely place to be, is very dangerous in its own right.
Check this out. A New Zealand company is showing a creative new way to get moving on water. At the Consumer Electronics Show in Las Vegas, the group says all you need is some muscle power and an electric engine.
So the Manta 5 Hydrofoil XE1 is the world's first hydrofoil bike. It utilises e-bike technology to assist you as you're planing along the surface, and then underneath the water you've got hydrofoils and a propeller which gives you the lift and the thrust to be able to plane on the surface of the water. So we set out to replicate the cycling experience on water, and the XE1 is our first version. So for the first 5 years of research and development, it was all manual, but we wanted to extend the ride time and open the market to a wider pool of people. So our first product is XE1, which allows for electric technology to be able to assist you as you're riding, very much like an e-bike. So there's a bit of mastery involved to learning it, but we sort of enjoy that whole mastery. The first part to learn is around launching, so you can either launch from a beach or from a pontoon or the back of a boat, and that's the easiest way to learn. Most people can get up within 3 or 4 turns, and then it's all about learning to be able to actually turn and carve up. And then the last one that you can learn, which is a bit more mastery, is to be able to relaunch from deep water. We call it a submerged launch. So if you've fallen off in deep water, you're actually able to come out of the water and get planing again.
Alberta Premier Jason Kenney had a productive meeting with Deputy Prime Minister Chrystia Freeland in Calgary recently. Our legislative reporter Tyler Dawson will have the details coming up right after the break.